Hello one and all, and welcome back to Final Drive Sim Racing. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Final Drive Sim Racing. It is the last race of the season, we hope. We tried this last week, it didn't quite happen, the server completely crashed on us, but we're going again. And we are once again looking at an endurance race around Laguna Seca, USA. Season 3 finale is here, and we are hoping that this time it will actually be the finale. So after practice, we've got a 15-minute qualifying session and an 80-minute race, with the title on the line, 3 drivers going for it, and the support championships also all up for grabs going into this final race. Your commentary team, as always, is myself, Mike Bullen on comms, Luke Dugdale and Aaron Markham will be joining me shortly. Luke should be getting in from work any moment. Aaron has got laryngitis or tonsillitis or both of the itises, and will be joining just for the race itself, as if he joins through practice and everything else, he'll probably end up losing his voice, and he wants to be here for the finale. So he'll be joining us as soon as he feels able. So it's just me for now, and we are in practice, and this is the state of affairs at the moment. So we've got 15 cars out there, and we're expecting a couple more to join before practice ends. Still 10 minutes of practice to go, and at the moment it's Wes Bakehouse who is top of the tree, so a little bit of time to find for some of the other guys. But last week we saw it was Kingston's race to lose, really, when the server all went down, but we were robbed of any opportunity for excitement around the pit stops and everything, as the server went down just before the halfway point of the race. So we've still got plenty of unknowns. I suppose in a way I'm really glad that the server did go down when it did, as it went down early enough that we didn't see anybody's tactics. We didn't see if people were going to pit early, pit late, if people weren't going to pit at all, which was an option we were told, which I'm sure hasn't changed with the same conditions on the server this week. So yes, plenty for us to digest and look at. So it's still very much an unknown on all of those elements I was just talking about. So 8.5 minutes left of this practice session then before we get into qualifying, and then into our 80-minute race. So as I said just a moment ago, our comms guys will be along to join me very, very soon. As you can see at the moment, they're not there. That little screen you can see there is blank. So it's just me and Brian here, and as you can see from the calendar there, this is the last race of the season. It's been a great season. We've had battles all through the grid all season, and most importantly what we have got is it coming down to the final race of the season. Yes, it's Alex Kingston's to lose at this point, but still, you know, he hasn't won it yet, yeah, a different champion potentially, but 3 guys going into this final race again with a chance of winning it, the same as what we had last season as well. So while practice is winding down, just in case anybody missed it last week, I'll just show you the track guide that I managed to make for your guys viewing for last week, and we'll repeat it again this week just in case anybody missed it. Give you a refresh of the track and what we're looking at today, and then we'll get into qualifying soon after that. So here is my track guide for Laguna Seca. Hi guys, and welcome to the final race of the season, final track guide of the season, and what a track to finish out. We're at Laguna Seca, but it's wet, as you can see, so I've been brave. I've put the wet weather on to emulate what it's going to be like for the drivers. I've done a couple of sight-in laps, full disclosure there, because I haven't driven Laguna Seca for a while, but also haven't driven in the wet for a very long time on ACC. I did drive you once in the wet before in Renault Clios on Project Cars 2, but I mean that's a long time ago, different car, different software. So I wanted to get a good feel for it, and as you'll see this week I'm in the McLaren, which is a car I haven't driven for a little while. So let's see how it goes. So just put my wipers on so I can actually see where I am going, which is quite important. So down the final corner. Oh, I've got that a little bit wrong. So I usually short shift out of corners when you're in first gear in the wet weather because the traction control kicks in so bad it just bogs the car really down. So here we go through the left, down towards the first couple of corners, down to first, just gently on the throttle, getting the car turned, again short shifting up to second, down towards the right hander, hard on the brakes, get the car turned in, back on the power. As you can see I'm sliding about all over the place. I'm losing to my Ghost at the moment. Hard on the brakes again, and then back on the power as quick as possible. Coming up we've got the double left-hander, so you want to be on the brakes, get the car turned in gently onto the power as soon as possible. This is a tricky one in these conditions. You don't want to be too late on the brakes because you will fly off into that gravel trap there, which obviously is not good. So you brake a little bit earlier than normal for the corkscrew, get the car turned in, back on the power again, short shift to second to stop any spinning of the wheels. This is really tricky. There's absolutely no grip through this left-handed downhill section. And then you're on the brakes again for the right-hander, off camber, all over the place, especially in the wet now. There's absolutely no grip at all. Back down to first, get the car turned in, back on the power, and again short shift to second just to get that traction and down towards the start-finish line. And there we go, that is a lap. So let's go for another one and see if we can beat it. Definitely much more confident through that section. And that's what I was talking about, overcooking that corner, which is exactly what I did. So this lap is not valid because I did that, but still, and we lost like the 0.6 of a second that I was up to that point. But we'll see the lap through. Yeah, so we did beat the lap time, and that would have been a mid 37 had we not made that mistake. Probably a 37.3 if not for that mistake, but I did make the mistake, so there we go. I've got to live with that. But yeah, Laguna Seca on the wet, big challenge, endurance race, a lot for the guys to think about and a lot going on, and strategy may be different as well in the wet because the car's going to use less fuel. Tyre, the way the tyres weigh is completely different with the wet, so intriguing race ahead. Back to the live action. So there we go, that was once again my track guide, and apologies if you did see that last week, but felt the need to show it again, if nothing else to fill some time in this practice session before we get started with qualifying. So yeah, Laguna Seca, known these days as the WeatherTech Raceway, was the Mazda Raceway for a while, I believe. Yeah, I think it's 11 corners, 2.2 miles, or 3.6 kilometers, depending on which way you're inclined with distance and speed. So quite a short track compared to most, which is why they do, even in the wet here, such a a 90-second lap time. But in the dry, they'd probably be looking at doing mid to low 20s. In these cars. I'd love to see a Formula 1 car go around here properly. I know we recently had Zach Brown and some of his McLaren friends going around there in old F1 cars and things, but I'd like to see a proper F1 hot lap around here. But the corkscrew would probably cause them quite a problem. But yes, we are coming towards the end of practice now. And we are just over a minute to go, so the drivers will be getting their driver briefing done, although that might not I tell you who might be able to tell us whether that's necessary this week or not is Matty Heaton, who's joined us in the comms box. His qualifying ban has unfortunately moved on from last week to this week due to the curtailed race, but will the drivers need to go through a briefing today, Matty, as they did it last week, or will it just all be, look, same again, lads?
Evening, mate. Yeah. To be fair, it's not been mentioned. I'm gonna guess that it isn't going to be done because I think everybody that is here was here last week. It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there might be a few words, but it'll only be a quick one if there is.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously disappointing to have that qualifying ban carry over, I'm sure, but you showed great pace last week once the race got going, and it was a shame that what happened. But, has anything changed over the last week? Have drivers learnt more, found pace? I mean, what's been happening over the last 7 days?
To be fair, I think not a huge amount of us have been on that much. I think people have spent a little bit of time. Myself, I've actually been trying some new cars for next season on different tracks, which probably hasn't helped me for this, but
right.
I feel like I'm still on the pace that I was last week, so hopefully it should be all right.
Well, I mean, as long as you got at least what you got last week, if nobody else has made any gains, then you should still be in good shape.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It was. I was feeling good last week. To be fair, I was gutted when the server went down and it all got brought to a halt. But I enjoyed it. So as much as it's a shame that I have got that quali ban again, it's another challenge and it's another chance to enjoy myself trying to make my way through the pack.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a track where you can overtake. It's a track that gives us plenty of action. So I guess that's to your advantage. It's a good place to have a quali ban, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. In these conditions around this circuit, there are worse places that could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think looking back at last week, most of my overtakes were from people making mistakes, going wide, dipping a wheel onto the gravel or onto a curb somewhere and struggling. So it's taking advantage of that, keeping it clean and picking them off as and when those mistakes happen if I can keep it clean myself.
Yes, indeed. So you're not involved in obviously quality yourself, but who's your call for pole?
I'm probably going to go with Alex again. To be fair, he got pole last week. He's in the Aston. He's a strong driver, and I think he can probably pull it off again. As much as people have done a few laps, I don't think there'll be a huge surprise from last week's grid, and I think Alex will pip it again.
This next question, I don't want you to take it wrong, as in not trying to call out of the drivers or slag anybody off, for want of a better phrase, but how much? I mean, Alex is clearly a talented driver, so let's lead with that. But how much of it is the car, do you think, this season? Because that Aston does appear to be the most drivable car. Again, for want of a better phrase, I'm trying to find the best way to word it. But is it a lot to do with the car you choose? Can that really impact your season, and can it lead to you having a championship?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's if you click with the car and the car clicks with you, then it definitely helps. I certainly wouldn't take anything away from Alex, like you say. He's a fantastic driver, and I would say that he'd be up there anyway. The Aston has been incredible this season. We're all hoping that they'll bring in a slight nerf next season, although some people are picking it. But I don't know really. He's a fantastic driver, but I mean, it is going to help to a certain extent, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know about you, but I find like some cars are so drivable and others are not. Whereas personally, I can't drive anything that's front-engined on this game. I'm useless in them. I can only drive the mid-engine cars. Have you found anything like that for yourself, or are you okay in all the cars?
So I've been trying other cars, looking for next season. So I mean, it's not much of a spoiler because no one will really care. But as it stands, I'm looking at going into the Audi next season. However, I've been doing a bit of running on Cota in the Audi, doing some LFM races, and it is not pleasant, shall we say. It's very oversteery, very twitchy, and I know the track doesn't help with that. But yeah, I'm still umming and ahhing whether to go for the Audi or whether to stay in the Lambo. But then, I've tried a few different cars, but not for a long enough distance, not enough time in those other cars to really sort of see where my lack of talent lies.
But therein lies the problem, doesn't it? Because you can spend, I don't know, 15, 20 laps in a car and think, oh, this feels great. You go to perhaps your favourite circuit where you know the braking points, you know the turning points, you're really comfortable. You try out 5 cars, you choose the one they think is the best, but then you go to a circuit where you're not so comfortable and it drives like an absolute pig. So that is the challenge, isn't it? Because you're trying to pick a car based on not that much knowledge really for an entire season.
Yeah, that's it, and especially being so new to sim racing, I've spoke to a few different guys. I spoke to Lloyd a fair bit. Obviously, he's in the Audi this season, and he's given me some insight into certain characteristics, shall we say, that the Audi has that I have experienced while I've done a little bit of running. So yeah, it's difficult because, like you say, I could do 15, 20 laps in the Audi, but I've done hundreds of laps in the Lambo because I've had it all season. So it's difficult to compare unless you really do put the hours in and go to all of the tracks that you've already raced and try and compare them.
Yeah, but that's that's where it starts to get silly then, doesn't it? I mean, that's a lot of commitment just to choose a car for a season, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's putting 20, 30 hours worth of practicing just to choose the car.
That's exactly it. Yeah, we've all got to go to work, haven't we? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've all got jobs, and this is it's supposed to be a bit of fun at the end of the day, but at the same time you want to be competitive as well, don't you? So it's swings and roundabouts, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a brilliant season though. First season racing, and been thoroughly enjoyable. It really has, and I'm looking forward to next season to see what happens.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to it as well, as we see Ash Humphreys just spin out a little bit on screen there, and doesn't seem to have impacted Kingston's time too much. He looks like he's set to take provisional pole. Bierkos has just set the fastest lap so far, which is 133.4. No, Graham Morris has just set 132.7, so it's a lot tighter up the top than I thought it would be so far, to the point where that lap from Morris suddenly looks like Kingston won't take provisional pole, and he doesn't. 32.9. So yeah, it's Morris from nowhere really there, as because I mean he wasn't way off the pace last week, but he certainly wasn't setting pole setting times. So
Morris is come on massively over the season. Not that it was a bad driver anyway, but towards the back end of the season, his pace has been up there in the top 5, battling with the big boys, shall we say, and it's brilliant to see. It's great to see everybody moving about and improving and making it more competitive. So
yeah, definitely. Look, at the end of the day, that's how people learn and grow, isn't it? And we've called out a couple of drivers this season who've just made progress. I mean, and I guess that's what we'll be hoping to be saying about you next season, is that, season 2, you make that progress, you're perhaps, constantly in the top 10 or that type of thing. But not I'm trying to put pressure on you, but that is what we've seen. We've seen it with Lloyd, we've seen it with Graham, particularly this season in their second full seasons, that they've made big leaps, and that's what we want to see. Is we want to see people progressing and getting better and able to pull off shock results, and give the big boys something to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really happy with the progression that I've made this season. If I look back at my first race, which was actually the last race of last season, I think I ended up retiring. I was spinning out constantly. It was awful. So the progression I've made, I'm really happy with. I have had, I think the majority of my finishes have been 10th, to be fair, out of all the other positions. But it's just it's that consistency to stay up there, because I am back in like 13th in the championship. I think missed weeks haven't helped, but hopefully I can be up there battling for the best of the rest, shall we say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an iterative process, isn't it? You're not suddenly going to go from back to front of the grid unless you've got some innate talent you didn't know you had and you just happened to click with it. But I found it's something I've had to graft and work out over the years, and like I've said many times, is the reason I'm in the comms box and not racing on ACCs, because I don't generally have the talent to keep it up. But
I think from seeing you do some races, although not on ACC, I do think you do yourself a disservice. To be fair, I think you are a good driver. It'd be good, hopefully, to get you out on track at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm now a retired touring car racer, so yes, I'll probably be on ACC going forward, and maybe iRacing, depending on how thick my wallet is looking, because that is quite expensive.
It is. When you said it, to be fair, the first thought was you must have had a pay rise if you're considering iRacing.
Yeah, I've had two in the last year, so I'm inching towards the area of being able to afford it slowly but surely.
Nice. Yeah, I had a little 3-month subscription through buying some gear.
Yeah.
That cost me like £1 for the 3 months. I went on, probably spent about an hour on it, but I was like, I don't want to get too into it. Because I don't want my bank balance to deplete any more than it is with buying the gear that I'm buying for my sim rig.
Yeah.
And I want to concentrate on ACC because I'm enjoying this league. They're a great bunch, some great races. So.
Yeah, they are, absolutely. It's a great community, and that's why we do what we do in the comms box, is because if it wasn't a good community, we wouldn't be involved with it. So it's just a call out really to the guys that run it, because they do a very good job. But yes, I will be on track on ACC, and I'm definitely doing that for sure. I'm kind of hoping these boys will set up some sort of secondary championship on another day, maybe, where I can get involved. I'm gonna nudge the powers that be, the Bernie Ecclestons of our sim world, and see if I can nudge them to get something else started, so I can do some bit of racing, as Alex Kingston sets another fastest lap of a 1:32.4, which is a sickeningly quick lap time, really. Disgusting, really, how talented the boy is, isn't it?
Oh, it's disgraceful. Taking the car out of the picture, look, we've already touched on. He's a fantastic driver. Him and Dom just boggles my brain sometimes. Some of his performances this season, it's certainly people to look to when trying to progress and become a better driver.
We haven't got any Dom tonight. Is he missing? Is he this week, or are you aware of anything?
No, we weren't. We're not expecting him not to be here. I think it's another case of he has other bits on a Thursday evening, early evening. So that's why quite often you will see him turn up quite late to qualifying, and on the odd occasion miss qualifying. Although that didn't stop him that week, because he managed to win it from the back of the grid.
Yeah. Drive of the season, that.
Oh, unreal. Absolutely
Kyle
unreal
I think, wasn't it, if I remember right? Yeah,
yes.
It was.
It was, yeah.
Another disgusting drive.
Absolutely. Disgraceful.
There's no need for it.
Yeah, it's just bang. It's out of order.
It is bang out of order, mate. Bang out of order. It is. It's just terrible. They should be ashamed of themselves, really. But there we go. We'll let them off.
If it weren't for them lads being in the league, then it certainly wouldn't be what it is, and it wouldn't. Like, for me personally, they're all amazing. Like, even the top guys, they don't sit up going, "Oh well, I'm the best driver." They help everyone out. They give advice. So if it weren't for them guys, I'm sure I wouldn't be progressing myself.
No, very true, mate. And the key thing is that there isn't one alien, is there? There are 4 or 5 of them, and they're all able to compete with each other and race closely, and so on and so on. So there's a lot to it. It's not just one alien out here winning every week or dominating the league season after season. There's a lot of talented guys out there. I mean, throughout the field. I mean, anybody who can complete a full season on this software has got talent, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm yet to do that. So.
Yeah. It's the good thing that I have spotted this season, though, is that gap between the top guys in the mid pack is starting to, towards the back end of the season, it's sort of started to get a bit smaller. And like we mentioned with Graham Morris, he's bumped up into the top 5 a few times. So it does show that gap between the top guys and the mid pack is coming down, which is encouraging.
It certainly does. And I think Dougie has made it into the comms box now. He's made it home from work. Have you, Doug? You can't hear me? Oh, he's on mute? Oh, he's gone for a cup of tea?
Either or. He's having some comms issues, I think.
Yeah.
He was muted. He unmuted himself as you sort of introduced him, but I'm guessing he's having potentially some mic issues. And I don't mean you issues, I mean the microphone.
Oh, it could be either, mate, to be fair. I've not muted him manually, so it isn't that. I was just checking if I'd manually muted him my side, but I haven't. Dougie, we can't hear you, so...
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yes!
It always helps when you actually plug a microphone part of your headphone into your headphone.
That generally helps.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, good evening.
we have found that useful in the past, yeah, having your headphones plugged in. But yeah, welcome. Yeah, Matt has been great, giving us some great insight into the league and everything this season, and we've been looking forward to next season. And obviously, that's probably going to be after Christmas now, I would imagine, and let everybody have a little break and get Christmas out of the way, because you'll struggle to get people committed with all Christmas dues and shopping trips and everything else going on over Christmas. But I'm sure we'll have a little break before we have to worry about season 4, which should give me a time.
Season 4 has... So apologies for jumping in there, Mike. Season 4, the dates have been released. For us, I don't know if... I mean, you'd be able to see them, I'm sure. I don't know whether it's a big secret, but yeah, it is. We are having a Christmas break before we start.
Awesome. That gives me time just to put together some nice montages, because you need a good montage ready for the start of season 4.
Absolutely. On that bombshell, though, Quali has just finished. I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you for having me again.
Pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
I
hope you have as good an 80 minutes as you did at 30 minutes last week. And fingers crossed the server holds up, and best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. I enjoy it, and I'll hopefully be able to follow Dom through as he's just arrived.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Best of luck to you.
Cheers. Have a good race, guys.
Cheers. Well, there we go. And nice of Matty to give us a bit of insight there. So quali just coming into an end now. So those finishing their laps now will cause the end of the session. So anybody who's not on a lap can't finish. So we'll just see if people can improve. But crosses the line and stays in position. Lloyd Reed struggled last week and is again struggling this week. So perhaps that Audi in these conditions around this track are just not quite doing the trick. And sorry, bear with me, just having a technical issue for a moment. There we go. I think I've got that sorted. Yeah, so yeah, Lloyd appeared to struggle last week, is struggling again this week. So that is everyone then. So I guess to make it nice and juicy, Dominic Engel hasn't made it in before the end of quali, so he will start from the back. So we like a bit of that, and hopefully we'll get to see him fight through as he usually does, Doug.
Oh, sorry, try again. I think it would be good to watch him trying to fight through here today. I think conditions don't necessarily favour a drive through, but I'd love to see it happen. It would make it very much interesting.
It will, and I guess that is the best we can hope for, is a nice fight at the front between the other two championship contenders, and Dominic Engel fighting his way through in doing this race, so he'll have plenty of opportunity to make inroads in this race. And obviously the man we were just talking to as well, Mr. Heaton, will be starting at the back as well, as he had a qualifying ban, just to remind you. So there we go. That is quali done, with the guys are just waiting for the session to restart. So I will just get that ready. And I'm just sorry, I've had a couple of asthma attacks today, Doug, so if I start coughing, I apologise. While we've got a small lull, I'm just going to go and grab a drink, because I can feel my throat getting a bit funny, and I will be back with you, all your viewers, and you, Doug, in just a minute's time.
No problem, I'll just run through the lineup. So obviously, first place we've got Kingston, starting on pole, and behind Kingston we've got Birkhouse, or not directly behind, but to the right hand side. Got Birkhouse, then got Foster, Morris, Humphreys, Mooney, Dehane in 7th, Bart Tonks in 8th, Alan Davis in 9th, and Lloyd Reed finishing out the top 10 there. And then we've got Dan Stevens in 11th, Prescott in 12th, Weavers in 13th, Matt Heaton in 14th. As you know, we had a qualifying ban. And then we've also got Burnett in 15th as well, and then Ingle rounding out the finish in 16th. Good evening, Adam. How are we?
Good.
Hello. How are you feeling for the race?
Yeah, good. I thought I might have had that qualifying, but as 3 of us within the 10th, so that's better than last week, I suppose.
Very, very close to you.
Same position as last week. I ended up staying there until the server pooped itself.
Hoping for the same again, or you're hoping to make some moves this time?
I don't know. If I pressure Wes, I think if I can pressure him a little bit, he will fall off. It's what he normally does in practice, so...
Rinse and repeat kind of thing.
Yeah.
How is it? Is it difficult out there again?
It is treacherous. Very, very horrible, yeah. The corkscrew's like one of the worst corners in the world anyway. For me, at least. And then add a little bit of rain. It's fun. Big puddles everywhere.
Nice.
But about 10 minutes in...
Worse.
Sorry, carry on.
Does that develop and just get worse throughout the race? Because I wasn't there last week, so I didn't manage to catch the first 30 minutes.
No, I was literally about to say, yeah, about 10 minutes in, a line will form, which will drop our lap times by about half a second, I reckon. But yeah, it's just a more grippier line. It's still going to be soaking wet with puddles.
Yeah.
But what we got, 16 cars running around, so it clears a bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, a few good guys were saying last week, because obviously we're dry line or we're drier line, the braking points are constantly changing. Does that still reflect?
Yeah, the braking board gets taken out as well, and it's quite something to look out for, especially turn 1. Braking board goes, you could go really deep. I think I did last week and nearly let Wes overtake.
Yeah, so it's one of once your marker's gone, it's not easy to find another marker, I suppose, if there's nothing there.
Not for me, it's not. No, not on this track. This is my kryptonite. I hate it.
Oh right, okay, so it's not. So to be fair, if it's one of you hate, you're not doing bad in third.
I think the wet has helped me massively today. So yeah, but open for a good one.
Would you say you're quite talented in all that? In fact, just about to start, aren't you?
Not talented. I can drive in the wet, but there are, like Alex is just insane in the wet. So
right, so Alex is one to watch out for.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Speak to you soon.
There we go. I have returned. Yeah. Sorry, apologies for a bad chest.
I felt
today.
really empowered, and I was like, I'm leading. So I'm the main commentator.
Yeah, but yeah, as long as you have fun, that's all that matters. That's what we're here to do at the end of the day. So we're just waiting for that green light now, and we will be there any second now. Just waiting for that call. And there it is, green light, foot flat to floor, and away down to the first corner we go. And it is still Kingston from Bakehouse from Foster. Foster with the inside line though into the first corner. He's going for Wes really early on here. He did say he was going to try and get up past him, and he has through the first couple of corners. He managed to get past him. Wes looks like he's really struggling there. As Ash Humphreys also coming up the inside, and Wes down now to 4th, from 2nd to 4th, but Humphreys struggling for traction at that corner and losing the position and then getting it back again. But Wes will have the inside line now. Wes has got more grip on the dirty line, which often happens in the wet with all the grit and stuff on track and the water going down on the rubbery line. Oh, but Wes runs wide there now. Humphreys might have another run at the inside, but he doesn't. He just tucks in behind him, and I think they'll probably just settle down in position now. But yeah, really bad start there, wasn't it, from Bakehouse? He really just didn't seem to have anything happening at all.
Yeah, it seemed to show, and Adam really did just pounce on that opportunity, put himself up the inside and got through really, as the inside line usually does.
Yeah, Dahan getting up past Humphreys there, but then running wide, and Humphreys getting back past Dahan. It's all happening, and Humphreys involved in a lot of this in the opening couple of laps. And then he gets that corner really wrong. It looks like these guys can't barely keep the car on the track in these early phases where there's lots of standing water. So just going back now, keeping an eye on Dominic Ingle, who's working his way up through the field. Him and Matty Heaton are the ones to watch today, as they started in 15th and 16th, and they're now up to 12th and 13th already after just one lap. So we will keep an eye on that. And Kingston's still leading, but not by much from Foster. Bakehouse a little bit further back then after struggling in those opening few corners particularly. He was all over the place. Then you've got Dehaan, and Dehaan is being followed by Humphreys. He's just overtaken Humphreys, and looks like Reed has had an orange flag pop up, which means there's been some contact somewhere, but there's no other driver with that. Oh, there's contact! Dominic Ingle makes contact there with Bart Tonks, and I think he got his braking slightly wrong and made contact.
We've seen a bit of that not last week, a week before as well from Ingle, where it's just like making a bit of contact.
Yeah, let's just have a look at the replay and see what it looked like on board with Ingle. So you spray everywhere, as you can see. Yeah, it looks treacherous with that spray. Oh, he did come across him, to be fair, in the braking zone.
As bad as it looked.
Yeah, I think Tonks didn't know Ingle was there and came across him in the braking zone. So I'm absolving Ingle of most of the blame for that one, because I think that was probably 50-50. Because yes, he hit him, but Tonks clearly moves across him in the braking zone, doesn't he?
I think as you said, 50-50. I think big should both. I think last week, a week before, we put one on. I think we blamed someone. It wasn't correct, to be fair. So we best go 50-50 on everything at the minute.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Everything's going to be 50-50 going forward, because otherwise we will dish out blame for people who have done absolutely nothing wrong. But that is.
Sit on the fence and get some splinters.
Exactly. You can't get it wrong if you sit on the fence, can you?
Yeah, go.
But yes, I remember at the F1 last week, Martin Brundle didn't sit on the fence and got ripped apart for it, but there we go. So we shall sit on the fence forever forward. So Kingston's still leading there. Foster has dropped back, and he did say Kingston's particularly strong in the wet, and as we were discussing, pre-race is very strong in that car as well. So it's looking ominous at the moment, and Bakehouse catching back up now with Foster after having zero grip in those opening few corners of that opening lap. He appears now to have the run on Foster, and is looking pretty much like he's going to be making a move anytime soon. Then you've got Kevin Dehaan, who's made good progress off the start, followed by Ash Humphreys. And Gray Morris then joining onto the back of that battle. Michael Mooney having a good race, finds himself... Oh, Dominic Ingles had something go wrong, I think. Unless he's giving positions back. Let's just pop on and see. So he's behind Lloyd, coming through the corkscrew. Just wondering why he's given that position to Darrell, or if he had an off. Oh, he hit the curb.
Oh, yeah,
Hit the curb on the inside, and that just forced him wide, and then he comes back on in front of Bart Tonks, who he made contact with not that long ago. So Ingle has to overtake Weavers again, and seeing as he's the person who looks most likely to make an overtake next, we'll stick with him for a little bit. See if we can catch one live for a change.
We always like it when it's live.
We do.
I'm more excited.
But Lord praise the replay button and its magnificence, because it is nothing short of magnificent. So just putting the race live gaps on there, so you guys can see at home all of the gaps. And Dougie can now see the gaps, and he can tell me if somebody else is close and I haven't seen it, which happens sometimes.
I think Ash has just overtook Dehaan. He went from 0.5 seconds behind Dehaan and then all of a sudden switched places.
It does look like that is the case, and that has happened. So is it a mistake from Dehaan, or is it a class overtake from Humphreys? Let's take a look. He was pretty close to him anyway, so here they are going towards the corkscrew, following immensely closely through that corkscrew. Oh, Dehaan gets the corkscrew all kinds of wrong. Oh, and he's really lucky. Yeah, very true, my friend. It was slightly unsafe, and it looks like
Brown pants, I think.
Yeah, that could easily have been a nasty accident, but thankfully it isn't. And there we are. Humphries gets that 4th position back.
DeHaan loses another place at the end of that replay as well. To
Yeah,
Morris.
yeah,
He
Morris.
goes wide, I think.
Morris has gone ahead. Yeah, looks like DeHaan has made another mistake. So DeHaan following Humphries now. Looks like he gets the first corner wrong, does he?
I think
No?
he goes wide, I think. That gets...
Yeah, he's okay
Goes
through
wide,
there.
There you go.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Just,
It's a bit of a gravel.
yeah. Just slightly touched the gravel, and that was enough to make him oversteer, and then that was that. So,
And Ingle has now overtook Weavers. It's full of action, this race.
we're not catching any of them live though, mate. Live is last year's news though, and you know, it's we like a replay. And there we go, Dominic Ingle up the inside into the left-hander, and up
Very
he goes.
PDF.
PDF indeed. PDF indeed. So, that is Ingle then, up into...
DeHaan has overtook Morris.
And DeHaan re-overtakes Morris. Let's see if we can catch that on this replay, otherwise I don't think we're going to get it. Oh, Morris with just a mistake through the corkscrew there. That has given DeHaan enough to get past. But Morris coming back at him. Oh, and it looks tight. Oh, down near the first corner.
Switchback.
Oh, DeHaan closed slammed the door shut on Morris there and said, "You ain't coming back through, mate. There's a big car in the way and it's got an Aston Martin symbol on the back." So that was that. But yeah, plenty of action. I mean, there's not even 10 minutes into this race yet, and we've had about 9 overtakes. It's been absolutely bonkers, and yeah, plenty.
Ingle's close to Reed, I think.
Yeah, he is pretty close. Ingle already has made 6 positions up, and that includes having to lose 2 positions and make them back again because of that mistake he made into the penultimate corner. But Ingle is
Might as
looking.
well call it 8.
Oh, it looks like Davis has made a mistake in front because he's under pressure from both of these guys. Oh, that looks so close there. Lloyd Reed so late on the brakes. I thought there was going to be some contact, and then Ingle
looks messy through there.
Oh, Weaver's off in the background. A little mistake from him. But Ingle up past Reed. Reed was so late on the brakes. I was confident he was making contact with that Honda. But somehow...
Even when Ingle looks like he got it wrong there, he's still confident. How does a man do that?
Yeah, it's talent. A talent me and you will only dream of, I'm afraid, my friend.
Definitely.
No offence.
Offence taken, no joking.
Yeah. I'll get my coat. But Davis defending really well. He's put in some great defences this season. Yeah.
Where was he doing masterclass defending?
Oh,
was that?
I can't remember now.
Absolute masterclass.
Was it? Did they do Donington? Was it Donington?
Could have been actually. Yeah, it's not a bad.
That rings a bell. I might be wrong, but yeah, I think it is just a matter of time before Ingle gets past. He looks like an animal in these conditions. Oh, but he's made contact again into that corner, and he's been caught out. And Davis flies off into the gravel. Ingle doing the right thing, waiting for Davis to take that position, but it'll be so small consolation for him because he's actually lost 4 positions in that melee. And Ingle will be annoyed with himself. Oh no, and Ingle's made another mistake. He's made another mistake. And he pirouettes around and...
Frustration.
Yeah, I think frustration kicking in for sure. So we have hour and 8 to go. We've seen loads of action, but Ingle clearly is not driving within himself like he normally does, is he, Doug?
I think I don't know about last week, but I know the week before we've seen a bit of Ingle where it didn't look like his usual self with contacts wise or making moves clean. Don't know obviously what came of them. I'm just making assumptions of he's just maybe not finding his kind of racecraft a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just a bit rushed, and especially in these conditions, it's not easy to just join in and start racing.
No. No, very. Oh, yeah, that's very true. He didn't even have qualifying to even warm up at all.
No, indeed he didn't. Right, okay, so where are we? We are... Yeah, just checking on the battles. Yeah, he is.
And Morris getting close to Dion.
Yeah, that is the one we are currently watching, so just keeping an eye on these guys.
I never knew it said good gear down there either. I just see what a nice little feature.
Yes, because unfortunately it doesn't always come up because I forget to change it to that setting, but unfortunately it doesn't save my settings, so every time I log into it, it resets back to default. Because I like that one where it shows you what gear they're in and what speed they're doing.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Right?
But it resets to like the driver's team name or something every week, like, and it does my head in. So just one of the many quirks of this wonderful software. But I mean, it is fantastic software, but it does just have a few little quirks that do slightly get on my nerves at times. But there we go. You can't be perfect every time, I suppose. But we are watching Morris as he tries to attack Dehaan, and I guess this really is testament to just how much Morris has improved this season, and the fact that he is able to compete.
That is very true, actually.
With the likes of Dehaan in that car.
Yeah, because I think take it back to what he was here last season, wasn't he, Morris?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
take
he
it back
was.
to last season. I think he was just creeping into the top 10, maybe. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean he had his reverse good race win, didn't he, when there was carnage at Spa? But other than that, yeah, he was sort of between 10th and 15th most races. But yeah, suddenly this season he just seems a lot more consistent, and he's definitely got the pace, and he's able to be up there competing. So that is great to see. Heaton's been in the wars, I think, a little bit because he was following Ingle through into the top 10. Ingle's had his issues, as we saw, but Heaton also appears to have had a few issues as he is back down to 13th, so I'm not quite sure.
And so, where championship-wise, where were we at with that?
No idea. Because the online championship doesn't take into account their their dropped scores, so it's almost impossible to tell. So yeah, I can't really say. All I can say is that Kingston and Foster and Ingle all have a shout at the championship, although barring some disaster for those top two, it looks like Ingle's out of it now. But there is still an hour and 5 to go, and a lot can happen in these conditions and on this track. So never say never, as they say. But as it stands, it's looking like it's. I mean, it's been Kingston's to lose probably for the last 3 rounds, but it's certainly.
It's got that lady sings.
Yeah, exactly. But Morris battling away with Dehaan, and he gets up past him into the corkscrew, but he's going to have a poorer line through there, but he just shuts the door. But
So
Dehaan,
track limit's quite lenient there, where you're going over the green.
it is on that inside line. Yeah, it's not classed as a cut, I don't think, or if it is, you've really got to gain time to get pinged. I didn't risk going anywhere near it on my track guides because I was just happy to keep it on the black stuff, to be honest.
Not as daring.
No, definitely not as daring as these guys. But great move for Morris, and he's got himself up into 5th position. So Dehaan sticking with him though, but soon to be under pressure as well from Michael Mooney, who was behind, having a good race in that Merc. And
Dehaan really gained under braking, didn't it?
Yeah, he. I think
really caught up to go back under.
it's. It seems. I think if we judge, as Mooney makes a little error there in the background, he'll be under pressure from Tonks now. Yeah, I think if we take, where Dom Ingle's been able to brake so much later, which is, I'm assuming, why he's made contact the twice he has into those corners, it looks like the Aston is able to brake so much later than the other cars, confidently in these conditions, and I think that is probably what's caught Engel out. So that's a good spot there to spot that Dehaan is also having that ability to brake so much later.
Sense then, because it's what I'm thinking about it then, where you gain because obviously you can be more confident on brakes and greater on the brakes, but if you're following someone and you're just losing time, I suppose, because you're not having that advantage over them.
No, indeed. That is very, very true. So, yeah, Dehaan has dropped off over the lap. So Graham Morris clearly has the pace over him at the moment. So Beercouse and Foster still fighting away. Beercouse doing a 32.5 in race trim, which is very, very quick, considering they were doing 32 4s for quali, so that is pretty quick for a race lap, and the fastest lap of the race so far, which almost didn't need saying, but there it is in pinky purple on the left hand side for you, as Dominic Engel beats that, despite the fact that he's probably got a fair amount of damage as well from the couple of incidents he's had, showing that he definitely should be probably winning this race. If he'd made it into quali in time to set a lap and had got himself settled at the front, he'd probably be winning this, but that isn't to be. So, but he is, what is he, 12, 15, he's about 25 seconds off the lead, which isn't a crazy amount with an hour to go and wet conditions and everything else. He could well, you know, still find himself towards the top, and of course anything can happen as we see Beercouse get past Foster. We weren't expecting to see that, but we'll just take a look at the replay. As I was talking nonsense, he got up past him, so Foster went deeper into the corkscrew, and he just got squirrely on the way out. That caused him to lose traction, and through goes Wes Beercouse.
Foster did mention he's struggling through the corkscrew, which makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think he said he doesn't like it in the dry, never mind these conditions, so it's almost no surprise there. Right, Engel up past Davis again, and makes his way back up into 10th position. Aaron Markham, how's your voice holding up, my friend?
It's been better, but yeah, it's okay. I think it's got an hour in it before it starts croaking and crackling away. You can't understand me.
I'll try not to ask you too many questions then.
Okay.
Keep the questions to a
missed?
minimum.
Would you like to fill me in?
Can you fill me in? Yeah, of course I can. I can't remember what's happened. Can you, Doug? So, right, Engel missed qualifying, started from the back. He didn't miss it because of a ban or anything, he just missed it. Matt Heaton also started from the back because his qualifying ban carried over from last week. Ash Humphreys, Foster, Beercouse, Kingston all battled it out for pole, and it was Kingston who came out on top in the end. Humphreys appeared to have the pace, but he has dropped off in the race, as you can see, being 10 seconds off that top three. Beercouse has just overtaken Foster for that second place, so it's still all to play for at the top, but it's looking like it is Kingston's championship to lose. Graham Morris, Dehaan having great battles for 5th and 6th, and Humphreys was battling with those earlier on as well. Engel has made contact with 2 drivers. He's so much later on the brakes, but he is clearly, as you can see from that message on screen there, the fastest man on track, and with an hour to go he's still got plenty of time to battle his way through. But he has made contact with Tonks and with Davis already, so no doubt he'll be carrying a little bit of damage as well, but not too much because they were towards the end of braking zones, and in these conditions hopefully shouldn't be too bad, so that catches you up. So what are your thoughts?
Awesome. Initial thoughts are happy to see Ash Humphreys up there, because I think if if I recall correctly, he struggled a little bit last week and was more down towards the mid pack, probably more like P7, P8, wasn't he? So that's my first impression. The second one was we saw Matt Heaton absolutely carve his way through the pack last week, and he doesn't seem to have had the same effect. Is there any particular reason, or has he just struggled a little bit more tonight compared to last week?
It's difficult to say. I mean, he was talking to us before the before the race. He joined me for quali while I was waiting for you two gentlemen to get yourselves sorted. So it was great to have somebody to talk to. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I was just literally mentioning it. So
I'm flagging out for you.
I think I probably probably commentator cursed him to death, basically, because he talked to me for 15 minutes straight. So I've just cursed him enough for 6 races. No, honestly, he was following Dom through. Dom had his incident, which dropped him behind, and then, to be honest, I didn't see what happened to Matty. But he just sort of went from fighting for top 10 back down to 13th, and now he's back up to 12th. So difficult to say. I didn't see what happened, but he certainly isn't putting pressure on the same way he was last week. I'm going to put it down to probably development of everybody else who's had time to practice in these conditions and get used to it. I think everybody else has caught up rather than him being worse. I think that's fair to say.
Cool.
But that is, of course, just my opinion, and opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. It's a family show, folks. It's a family show.
I like that one.
But anyway,
2 more questions.
you can't ask questions. You're losing your voice.
Where is Rich? Oh, that's not fair.
As we
I was
see
gonna say,
Bartonks
where's,
make a move onto
Rich?
Han, we're going to take a look at the replay, and then I'll explain where Rich is.
Ooh, that's one kind of move.
Oh,
That's one kind of move.
just as I press the replay button, they have an even bigger accident. Fantastic. And you can't cancel the replay button. It's either on.
Prescott.
It's either on or it's on. So yeah.
Yeah, it's Prescott behind a lapped car.
Oh no, it was Mooney. It was Mooney. It was Mooney has come up.
Okay.
You can see on the screen there the contact thing was with Mooney. I think we're going to catch it. I think we're just going to catch the end of it. Mooney. Mooney tried the move onto Han, and then caught Tonks in the process. So Reed has benefited from that. Now he's up into 7th. It's been hectic. We've had so many overtakes and incidents. It's been brilliant, and we've still got 55 minutes to go. Yes, but Humphrey's brother number 2 not here this week. Couldn't make it. Obviously, they were expecting the season to have finished, and Richard Arnold's internet has decided to poo itself moments before practice was starting and has not come back. So he has no Tinterweb. So no racing for Rich this week, which I'm sure he's most annoyed with. But hopefully he's watching, and I'll just check the chat actually, see if anybody has commented. No, nobody's commented, nobody at all. But I've got 16 people viewing, which is fantastic to see.
That's our record.
I think it is for live. Yeah. 16 views. So
It's actually just all the drivers.
yeah, probably is. Yeah, you're right. But absolutely fantastic to see people viewing us, but we do tend to get nearly 200 views a week, but most of them via the replay function. Not the same replay function that I've got, obviously, where it shows you 30 seconds, the one where you can watch it back at any time. But yeah, the biggest news this week is I've got a new desk chair, and it's just absolutely the most comfortable thing in the world, so I'm quite happy doing comms this week, so resting my my derriere in my new chair. That rhymed, I did. I wasn't even trying.
You didn't know it?
A lyrical genius.
What can I say?
Some would say.
Alright, he's not the stick. He's not music's answer to the stick.
The stick got nothing on me. He's got everything on me.
I tell you what, it's not took Dom Ingle long to put a move on Bart's Tonks, has it?
Oh no, they've made contact again!
No,
They've made contact again! Again, they've made contact. That is the second time in this race that these two have come together. And I'm going to go up to Helicam and hopefully we can get a better view of why this happened. Because the overtake was done, so it's a question of who turned in on who at this point, because did Ingle assume he was far enough ahead to take the race in line, or did Bart's come over on him? Yeah, Ingle's come across by the look of it, haven't he, to take the race in line, and I think he's
as we said before, Mike, that was 50-50.
And they're still going at it. They've decided, you know what, 50-50, and now they're fighting away again.
There's a good reason to sit on the fence.
But that right there, Aaron, is exactly why Ingle is where he is in this race and not already in the top 5, because that is the third one of those he has had today. It's just not been his afternoon. We have seen that type of race before this season, though, haven't we? I'm trying to think of where the other one was, where he just had a bit of a stinker.
Oh, well held.
I think I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, there was another race, wasn't there? But he just had a bit of a stinker, and it was Indy, wasn't it? Yeah, Indy had a bit of a stinker, didn't he?
Yeah.
He made contact with a few people.
Yeah, he just seemed to eat like everything.
That's right. Yeah. I knew I was not making it up. But yeah, he's unfortunately for him having another one of those, because I think he's probably lost at least 15 seconds with those, which would probably put him up where Lloyd is at the moment, if not even further. I mean, that's just a conservative guess, 15 seconds. It could be a lot more. It is difficult to tell. But if we look at... Oh, you are? No, that's nonsense, because he lost 15 seconds on the last lap alone, and he's had 3 of those. Granted, not all the same severity, so even if you call it 40 seconds for all 3 of them, I mean, geez, that would put him pretty much on Foster's position. So you've got to be frustrated, especially when you know you're the fastest man on track. You've got to be frustrated.
Yeah, but that's where having patience and having, the guile and the character to pick and choose your moves and make sure you do them effectively pays off. We have a couple of guys in our F1 league who are absolutely scarcely rapid, almost time trial merchants, to the point where they struggle to race side by side with people, but if they are in clear air, they will walk the race.
Yeah.
And not saying that Dom's a time trial merchant, just it seems like maybe he just needs to take a deep breath kind of approach to racing some of these guys, because it looks like you say, he's got the pace. We know he's got the pace. He's the fastest guy on the track. Just take your time. In an endurance race, there's so much that can happen. He doesn't have to try and do it all at once. Just pick your move one by one and avoid silly incidents like that, because like you say, he'll walk away from this and he'll be gutted knowing that theoretically he could have been P3 at the 50-minute stage, but instead he's P10.
Yep, absolutely. And do you know what? I wonder. Here's a question for you then. Oh, Bart's had a spinneroonie and then off. So here's a question. Here's a question for you then. The difference between Ingle and Kingston and Foster, his championship rivals this season, is that Ingle for 60% of the races, or 66% of the races, hasn't been able to set a quali time, or was only joined just in time for quali. If he didn't have those personal commitments and could make it in time for practice and was always starting from the front rather than the back, would he have won the championship this season?
Don't see why.
Yeah, I think it's quite difficult to say no.
Because
I think he genuinely would have.
If you think about, the fact that he has, for over half the races, had to either start from the back or just managed to set a lap for quali, not taking the reverse grid races into account, obviously. you know, he's had to work a lot harder to be in contention coming into this race than the other two have. Not his fault, obviously. Life always comes first. You know, I'm not pointing blame by saying that. I'm just saying, you know, I think Foster and Kingston have had it easier from that point of view. If you sort of see what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's almost like what you
definitely.
kind of thing. I think it's one of them where
Bully's special prize.
yeah, basically what you could have won. But in all seriousness, he's a very, very talented driver, and I think if he had time, obviously, as we said, Guy always comes first. But if he had the time, I think it would be winning a championship out and out.
Yeah, I mean,
I think myself and sorry, mate.
No, go for it, mate.
I was just gonna say, like we both know single hand as well, and Doug knows as well from speaking with the guys, just how much practice means on this game, especially as well how many hours actually get put into practice of all of these guys, and to just sort of jump in, no sort of previous practice, try and set one lap. That the amount of pressure to jump into a session and have to deliver on a lap is so intense, and then to go straight into a race, no practice beforehand, it's just absolutely bonkers. So you can only think of what could have been if you give the man a quarter of an hour instead of 5 minutes, or if you give Dom all the extra days practice that he probably missed out on in the background. It's just Ash Humphries has gone wide there. But yeah, I think I made my point, Mike. I'll hand back over to you.
Yeah, no, I was just Ash managed to somehow just come out of that without it being a big accident, because he came back across. Let's just take another look at it actually, because I want to see it from the helicam so we can get a real feel for this. As Michael Mooney's the first person to properly pit, not taking Bart Tonks, who's retired into account. Oh god, that was so close between the two of them there. But Ash just managing to get on the power quick enough to get himself back ahead of the fellow McLaren. But Morris appearing to have the pace to really catch up to him and challenge him at the moment. So I was going to say something and my mind went completely blank. I was distracted by something shiny. I usually am. It's gone. It's completely gone. Whatever it was, so it couldn't have been important, as my mother would have said. If you can't remember what it wasn't important. Yeah, Humphries. You know, Foster aside, you know, Foster being the alien that he is, Humphries has kind of been the lead McLaren, if you like, this season. But Morris, you know what, really, I know we talked earlier about how much he's improved, but you know, he's able to challenge Humphries now. He's been in that McLaren for, you know, 3 seasons, chipping away at it. So and you know, a very talented driver. So great to see Morris's progression again.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit gutted actually that Lloyd isn't in the mix with Ash and Graham, but I remember Lloyd didn't particularly have a good time last week, did he? He struggled a little bit, so not too surprised to see him way off the back of Kevin DeHaan and these guys here that we're looking at.
Yeah, I think I said, Doug, didn't I, in towards the start of the race, basically, that he just appears to, him and the Audi just don't work at this track, or in these conditions. You know, I'm not sure which it is, but it just doesn't appear to be a happy combination.
No, yeah, you did mention it, and it's one of them. Sometimes I know myself, when we used to racing wet, I hated racing in the wet, and however good I could be, the wet just neutralised that and just took me right back down. Yeah,
I always loved racing in the wet. But I mean, I can't remember the last time I did, because obviously race room doesn't have wet weather. But yeah, so I can't remember the last time I did actually race in the wet. Would have been on this at some point, but obviously did a bit of wet running for my my track guide for this, but yeah, that's one thing I do look forward to welcoming back to my life is a bit of wet weather running, because I do enjoy it. It's a much different challenge, and something I do enjoy, weirdly.
I think Davies has had an incident. He went yellow flag there, and Matty's up past him into P9.
He went yellow and white, which means he was off the track at some point. Let's just take a look here. You can see Matty in the background behind him there. I think, yeah, he's just carried a little bit too much speed for it.
Is it going to be a curb spin?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Carried a little bit too much speed.
That is so easily done, and it's done as well, because I think we saw it last week where Dom held it on the grass at the bridge before the corkscrew. It's so easy to just dip a wheel on this circuit just because of the characteristics of the way the corners are.
Yeah, what struck me as you come through the corkscrew and come down to that left-hander, it's all downhill, and it's an understeery corner, for want of a better word, anyway. But in these conditions, there was literally no grip. There was just absolutely nothing happening. I was like full lock left, and it was just like, no, I'm going straight, I'm going straight, I'm going straight. It just didn't have it.
Usually you wait, don't you, for the front end to kind of say, okay, now you can go, but I can imagine in this it just doesn't do that. It's just, nope, no grip, no grip. Oh, you expected grip, but there's no grip.
Yeah, it was weird. There was grip where I expected there to be no grip, and there was no grip where I expected there to be grip. So it was quite a surreal sort of experience. But to be fair, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't on these guys' pace. Obviously, these are doing 135s, and my best lap was a 137. So and that's the slower guys on the grid. Whereas the top guys are doing 133s at the moment, or late 132s.
Welcome to my world, Mike.
Yeah, I'm regretting this, going back to ACC racing nonsense. I think I'm going to live to regret it, but it's all good fun.
These guys are just aliens, Mike. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up.
No, I'm not. And to be fair, the only driving I do on it is my bloody track guide, so it's not like I get a lot of practice in like these guys, is it? So if I actually practiced, if I practiced, I'd probably be alright. Mind you, I put the AI up to 100% the other day and did Alton Park, and I was qualifying like 7th midfield sort of pace, against the AI on its harder settings. So I was like, do you know what? I'll take that. That's not bad at all. So yeah, I'm going to do a season against the AI, get back into the groove, and then join a league, I think, and get back into it. But not on a Thursday, obviously, because Thursday is reserved for FDSR.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hear a cool fact about the Final Drive Sim Racing FDSR name?
Cool. Go on then.
I came up with it. I named this league, so there we go. Fun fact for you.
That's not interesting. I'm off. See you later.
Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
I heard that.
I also did a very rudimentary version of that logo, which has been vastly improved by whoever made that one. Mine was far more basic. But yes, when the guys obviously wanted to start this particular league, I was involved in the. I originally was going to race in it, but yeah, I come up with that name, so there. It's my little claim to fame. But we are past the halfway mark, and we've only had one. Foster is in the pits now. He's just left the pits. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Only if you take Tonks out of it, because he's sort of just quit to the pits, I believe, and retired. Yeah. So we've only had 4 pit stops so far. So back to that conversation then that we were having last week, which Dougie wouldn't have been privy to, that I mentioned in the pre-show while I was filling time, waiting for you beautiful people to join me, was about, is anybody going to go to the end? Because it is possible, Doug, to go to the end without stopping for fuel and tyres around this particular circuit for 80 minutes. It's possible. It might not be the quickest way to do it, as in it might be quicker to do a stop, but considering, in F1 you lose, 22 seconds for a pit stop, you lose 62 seconds on this, so it's a lot of time to lose. So if you can average it out, you could lose maybe only 40 seconds. If you go all the way, that's a 20-second gain, which is a good few positions on this grid. So it is possible, just to reiterate, that for these guys to go to the end without stopping. Now Foster is the only one of the front lot to stop so far. We are past the halfway point now. Do we think anybody's going to try it?
See, I'm one of them where I hope someone does try it, but I don't actually know who would try it out of the group of drivers.
I'm gonna take a stab in the dark and say if anybody's going to try it, it's going to be a McLaren or a Honda. And the reason I say that is because in my limited experience, granted, they're a lot lighter on fuel. Because they run in V6s. Well, the McLaren's a V8, I think, but it's leaner than like the other V8s, for example. And the Lambo's probably running a V482 because they just love displacement, don't they? So, Bierkhaus in the pits now. So we are seeing these pit stops coming. Morris in the pits as well. So the two McLarens so far haven't been willing to risk it.
I'm going to go throw something out there. Maybe Ingle might try it with starting from the back.
Oh, I think Bierkhaus has fueled from start to finish, because that was only a 48-second stop. So I think he's only stopped for tyres. He was only stationary for 17 seconds, so he's only stopped for tyres. He hasn't stopped for fuel. Yeah, whereas Foster has stopped for fuel. So Foster is now...
What I was going to suggest.
Yeah. Foster is 16 seconds behind Bierkhaus now, because Foster put fuel in and Bierkhaus didn't. But
that's what I would have done. What Wes has done.
Yeah. But I mean, the big question, it is possible for them to go to the end. So, I mean, if they can keep the tyres in the window, I mean, someone like Ingle, I mean, I'm not saying he is or can, but if someone like Ingle can, all of a sudden he'll be back in this race. It's exciting to think about, if nothing else.
You raise a good point. I think when we were speaking to Matt last week, though, he was saying that the tyre wear is pretty significant, wasn't he? So it's going to take something godlike to keep the tyres in the window by the sounds of it. But if you can, I mean, it probably won't happen, but it's an interesting theory and a good one to think about, that if someone can keep these tyres alive and lap with a good pace, like you say, you can gain almost a third of a pit stop on the field. I mean...
Well, I mean, those are just numbers I'm plucking off the top of my head as well. I mean, assuming you've got to do a bit of lift and coast to save fuel and reserve your tyres, I'm plucking 40 seconds loss as opposed to 60 seconds out of the air, just sort of doing some rough estimations. It could be more, it could be less, we don't know. But, I mean, I would assume not pitting would be a significant gain because of the length of time it takes to stop on this game.
Oh yeah, I think if you're going to be a non-pitter, your actual pace of being conservative has to be pretty close to leader pace, otherwise I don't think it'll be worth it, will it? If you're having to lap 4 seconds a lap slower to get your car to the end, really the net gain that you would have had is probably gone, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, they are going to do 50 laps, so 4 seconds a lap, 50 laps is, what, 2.5 minutes, is it? Give or take. So, you've lost it there. If it's a second a lap, then you gain 10 seconds. If it's half a second a lap,
yes,
you gain 30 seconds. So it just depends on what the differential, what that delta is, doesn't it? But... yeah, it's sexy to think about anyway. I love the thought of somebody just going to the end and risking it for a biscuit. Like, gets me all excited,
I just
boys.
love the thought of someone. I love the thought of someone not really thinking it through and just going, don't have to worry about fuel. And he gets to like the last quarter of an hour and they've got ball tyres, no grip. It's sideways McGee around every corner, and it's just like, didn't really think about this properly, did I? I just love it if someone did that, and it was just like Colin McRae simulator for the last quarter of an hour.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it can be done. I mean, these tyres, can go up to like 2 hours because think when they do the proper endurance races, and the tyre models on this are based on real life races. They do 4, 6, 12, and 24-hour races. So, these tyres are capable of going a very long way. What's different is us having the ability to actually make them last as amateurs.
But it's, as you were saying before, like it's a game, risk versus reward, isn't it? You don't really know specifically.
Nope, just watching a replay of this battle between Ingle and Bierkhaus, and Ingle hasn't just sat behind him, so as if he is imminently going to make a pit stop. He's battled for the position and made the move, and up he goes into 5th. So,
is there a way you can see fuel levels, Mike, and or tyre wear levels with this software?
no. There is software I can get to do that, but I believe I already have it as Motec software, but
Right.
I believe that it only looks at the car that you're driving. I can't sort of plug it in to say, look at this car, look at that car.
Right. Okay.
But so no is the short answer, and what I said is the long answer.
So you got both.
Yeah, basically. But I'm sure there is software out there that can show me, tyre wear and things. But it's something we'll have to perhaps have a little look at. Maybe I can double up on the software and get a bit more running. Burn my CPU out. Why not? Be an excuse to buy a new one. Oh, we see Dahan getting it all kinds of wrong in the front there, and that's going to give Reed and Ingle a bit of impetus to get up alongside Dahan. So this top 5 at the moment are yet to pit. So Kingston still out in front, yet to pit. I mean, if he doesn't pit and goes on to win the race, I mean, that's just going to be disgusting, really. But it's just to have that pace and then not need to pit would just be just awful. I'm just jealous, really, to be honest. Yeah, just pure jealousy. But yes,
The league will turn into Stomp Dom Ingle Simulator.
But here we go. We are watching Dom as he battles away with Lloyd Reed. Both of them yet to pit, but Ingle nearly a second lap faster than Reed at the moment, and still one of the fastest men on track. But yeah,
what happened there?
Reed.
Oh, Lloyd's binned it.
Yeah, he has. So
I think he did bin it, but he has potential for contact. Potential.
Pop up to Helicam again, just so we can see exactly what happened. I'm wondering if he
both run slightly wide here.
I think it's going to be in this.
This next corner.
Yeah, he's just caught the gravel again, and just a little kiss of the barrier, so hopefully not too much damage for him. But that is that. So Reed with an unfortunate mistake there. Yeah, he definitely doesn't look comfortable in these positions, in these conditions. Sorry, does he, lads, compared to what he normally looks?
No, definitely not. No.
That was a Murrayism if I ever heard one.
I try not to do too many of them. I try mostly to speak sense, and usually fail anyway.
You've been reading the Kama Sutra too much, haven't you? He's not comfortable in these positions.
Oh God, I wish. A little insight into my personal life. There you go. But there we go. Reed is gone through the pits, but it looks like it was a drive-through.
Looks like a more comfortable position.
Yeah, but it was a drive-through, so somehow he's got a track limits abuse. during that process, and he's had to do a drive-through penalty. So he comes out in 7th. But yeah, a drive-through penalty just to add to his woes. It's not Reed's day, is it?
Definitely not. No. I don't. It's one of them where he looked at the start, as much as he wasn't, as we were saying before, he still looked like he's struggling. He didn't look too bad, but it looks like he's gone from bad to worse for him.
Yeah, it certainly has. So people that are yet to pit then, we have the top 4: Kingston, Humphreys, Dehaan and Ingle, and Alan Davis also yet to pit. So
It'll be a bit demoralising, won't it, if Kingston doesn't pit? The guy first just stays first for the entire race.
Yeah, but the scary thing is it is actually possible. But Davis here is the one. I mean, he would have been battling away with Matty Heaton and Darryl Weaver's there for sort of like 10th, but he's a couple of seconds ahead of Morris at the moment. But expecting Morris to come back through with the pace that he has. But Davis could well gain those positions from the likes of Heaton, because he's a good 51 seconds ahead of him. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as it transpires. I mean, Davis may well pit, but the Honda is particularly light on fuel, so he's one of those that probably could get away with not pitting if he does the right level of lift and coast. Ingle already up onto the back of Dehaan. That was a 4-second gap not long ago, so he's certainly got the pace. 27 minutes left. Still no pit stop from those top 4. Oh, I'm on pins, boys. Can't decide if anybody's going to stop or
It's very
not.
anticlimactic, isn't it, when the top 4 don't pit?
Or if they all do pit.
I want Domingo. I was gonna say I just want one person to not pit, and I want it to be Domingo, but I kind of want it to fall away. So I want it to be like tense as hell as the lead is dramatically falling for the last like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so Kingston comes out 10 seconds behind him with like 3 laps to go or something like.
Yes, and it's just like, oh, I want like an Abu Dhabi climax of the final drive sim racing league, but I feel like we've got this expectation that's a skyscraper like the Burj Khalifa, and the reality is it's a semi-detached house in Wales.
Nice. Nice. All I can do is
Wales.
Toto's voice in my head now. It's your fault.
No, Mikey, no!
It's not right, Michael. No. I'm gonna have that in my head now.
Mikey! What? I'm sorry, that's, I've put cursed images in the stream now.
So we just have missed Morris getting past Davis. We were talking about it a minute ago. Davis yet to stop, and looking like he might not stop. We don't quite know exactly what's going to happen with the pit stops, but Morris has made his way past the Honda in the McLaren, my 2 favourite cars on the grid. And pretty simple in the end. Much better exit, and through he goes up into 8th. So I'm just on pins, boys, for the pit stops. Oh, big mistake there from Morris. Goes off the track, but I think he's just about held it together. He should survive another day. And Davis takes the sensible option, backs off rather than challenge him into the corkscrew. And they both live to fight another day. So Ingle still battling away with Dehaan, unable to make a move. It looks like his pace has dropped off just a bit. I don't know whether that is because he's battling or because he's losing tyres maybe, or saving fuel. It's difficult to say.
We don't know, and that's the fun.
It is the fun, but I kind of wish I had some of that data available, but I suspect it's because he's getting held up, as in he just hasn't got enough of a speed differential to get past, but he is faster than the car in front. but Dahan defending well at the moment.
Of course, his compatriot is behind Dom. I think they are both from Holland, aren't they? Or have I just
Yes. No, I believe.
Dan.
I believe so. If I just click the nation
Oh,
button.
Morris, yellow flag.
Oh, if I click the nation button, it shows that they're all from nowhere. So there we go. That doesn't work. Yeah, Morris has had an issue, so he's gone off the track again. So let's again take a look at the replay, see if we can catch it. So, oh, just one of those. He just caught too much curb and oversteered around. Easily done in these conditions. But yes, he'll be frustrated with that, I'm sure.
Do you reckon these boys are actually going to pit?
I don't know. It's hard to tell if somebody's just.
I honestly don't know.
I think they've gone along the bakehouse route of not needing to stop fuel, or bakehouse has had a big off. Something's happened.
This could be big. I bet he just loses it on some dirt. Understeer. All fine so far.
He's done the same. That corner has just become treacherous. These guys need to almost tiptoe through it now. But Foster is now up in
serious
fifth.
puddles.
Yeah, I think that is the case. But yeah, Foster now up to fifth, and that's taken Ingles' main challenger out of it. And Bakehouse is up and running again. Ingles still battling away with Dahan. Neither of these guys have stopped. But yeah, back to the pit stop. Question from Dougie. Yeah, I suspect they've all fueled enough to go to the end, and anybody whose tyres completely drop off may feel the need to stop. Interestingly, Kingston obviously out in front on his own. His last lap was a 1:34.4, whereas these two guys are doing 1:30, mid 1:33s, nearly a second faster. Yeah, Kingston is struggling a little bit for pace out there at the moment. Could be that he made a mistake, but we'll keep an eye on his lap times. Well, let's just jump on to him just momentarily so we can see his last 3 laps. No, just a bad lap. Yeah, he's normally late 32s. And he's just had a bad lap.
I'll tell you what, Mike. I was going to say, maybe stay with him and just see how bad the puddles are from an onboard view.
Yeah, sure. Let's jump on. There we are. This is helmet view. So this is the equivalent of what you get in F1, where you get that really shaky camera. But due to it being,
just might tell us. It tell us something we don't know. So.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you can certainly see the spray from the back markers that we were following not that long ago. I say back markers; they're midfielders. It's just that's the difference when they've stopped and the leader hasn't.
You can see there was a little bit of correction there on the exit still, so it's not quite steady gore, is it? It's definitely a little bit of water on that exit.
Davis being kind there with the blue flags.
Was it not Morris?
No, it was Davis. Morris is still ahead.
I see. Ignore me. I tell you what, you realise as well, like how smooth these guys are, considering it's the wet. When you drive on board like this, like there's not really a huge amount of moments as to where the car's going away from them. It all feels like it's very under control and ridiculously easy.
Yeah.
Even though it definitely isn't. Even out the traction, so there, it just isn't difficult.
Yeah, what's astounding is the fact that he doesn't even get the traction control to kick in. It's like when I drive in the wet, particularly in first gear, I have to short shift a second to stop it, because otherwise it just gets bogged down with, he's not even getting it to kick in.
What does it do again, Mike?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Oh, he's made a mistake! Oh, he's made a mistake!
He's held it!
The commentator's curse is alive! And that is going to give huge hope to his rivals. Is it that his tyres are going? Has he just caught the rain wrong? Is he going to need to stop now where others may not stop? That could well change this race. We'll see. But Kingston with a big mistake. I mean, he's lucky he's got such a big gap. Dehaan has decided to pit, so Ingle is now up to third, and we have less than 20 minutes left of this final race, the season finale, and we've just seen the championship leader and de facto champion, champion-elect, if you will, Alex Kingston, make a huge mistake there, so he's lost a load of time in that. So if he does stop now, he will come out behind the likes of Foster and Bierkhaus, I would imagine. But here's the question: will he stop? He's got 38 seconds on Ingle as it stands. But if he does stop, obviously he'll come out on proper fresh tyres and be rapid for the final 15 minutes of this race. But he may well just settle back into it. Dehaan showing as a white flag there, but I think he might have just dipped over the pit exit line. I think that's all that happened there, as he couldn't have done much wrong because he was in the pits. But Dehaan out then in 7th, behind Lloyd Reed. So Lloyd Reed, despite his adventures, comes out ahead of Kevin Dehaan. So it's just the top 3 then, and Davis here at the pit. Say it again, sorry mate, I didn't catch that.
Images of Kingston. I have images of Kingston just absolutely dripping in sweat of what to do now. Almost like that Jordan Peele meme where it's just basically a bucket of water. Almost like Aeroplane for the older viewers.
Yeah. Key and Peele, good show. Unfortunately, they made it that you have to watch, you have to pay for it to watch it on Amazon Prime now, so I'm not watching it anymore.
So sad, so sad. What would you do, Mike? Would you pit, or would you stay out?
If I was Kingston, I'd stick to whatever I'd planned. So I can. Oh, Dehaan's back in the pits again. I think he must have. I think Dehaan has triggered the pit exit. I think that might have been what that yellow flag was for. So I think he might have... Or he got his pit stop wrong. And he's had to stop again. So that's Dehaan's race ruined.
Might not have refueled.
Yeah, he's done something wrong, because I thought maybe it was a drive-through, but it's not. It's a second stop. And... yeah, there he is back in the pits again. So Davis at the moment looking unlikely to pit. I think if he can keep his tyres in the window they are in, he will go to the end now. He's clearly got enough fuel. Yeah, so anyway, back to your question. I would stick to whatever I planned. I wouldn't change my plan halfway through, because then you just regret it and think, oh, what if? And unless, you know, something went severely wrong. If I was going off every 3 corners maybe, and the tyres had fallen off that much, I'd pit. But if it was just a case of oh, and he's triggered a yellow flag again, I wonder if he's done whatever he's done. I think the same thing has happened again, but this time he stopped for a full minute. Oh, the second one was a stop-go penalty. Yeah, so he's triggered the speeding in the pit lane, which is a stop-go penalty, and it came up with a yellow flag for that. Now the same thing happened when he left the pits this time after his stop-go penalty, so I do wonder whether he's got another one. Unfortunately it doesn't tell me until they've got to serve it, but
someone's parked on the front.
yeah, I was trying to see what that was. Matty Heaton, he's parked up.
Stopped off for a McDonald's try.
It shows an R next to him, which I don't know what that means. His pit stop was a full pit stop, so he definitely stopped for fuel. But he is just sat there.
Taking in the scenery.
Yeah, so I wonder I wonder if he's run out of fuel.
Nope.
I think he must have. underfilled it or something. Let's go back on the replay 1 minute and see if we can see. He's run out of fuel. This is the replay. Sorry, folks, I forgot to just press the overlay. He ran out of fuel. Yeah, he's just died halfway around the corner and completely run out of fuel. So that's it. He's back to the pits. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Sorry, when you said he's out of fuel, I had a very, very, very loud Murray Walker in my ear. a random race that I watched from the 80s where every single person ran out of fuel. It was bonkers. And it's just Murray Walker going, "He's out of fuel! He's out of fuel!"
Yeah, well, so's everybody else. But yeah, as it stands then, we have 13 minutes left. It looks like we've got 4 drivers who've been brave enough to go to the end. But that Scott Ashlam Humphreys is a phenomenal second position at the moment, barring any disaster. And Dominic Ingle third, with Adam Foster in 4th. Alex seems to still way out in front despite that little adventure. But we will keep an eye on proceedings, because had his own little adventure as well. He's down to 5th now, losing out to all those people who well, say those other 2 who haven't stopped, not losing out to Kingston, because Kingston was out in front anyway. But there we go. It's just a case now, guys, of waiting to see if anybody else runs out of fuel, I guess. But it's a strange point for him to run out of fuel. I can only assume that he meant to put fuel in and didn't put enough in the pit stop, or meant to go to the end and severely underfueled. But to stop with 15 minutes to go, run out of fuel is... I mean, it looks like he's run out of fuel. I can't think of any other reason why the car would suddenly slow down and die, unless, you know, he's completely mashed his transmission to death in this race, which is unlikely in these conditions, I think, isn't it, boys, that he's going to have killed the transmission, like?
Yeah. It's strange unless these technical issues or sim-related technical issues.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be pedals, but yeah, difficult to say.
Maybe it's tactical. Tactical Matty deployed. He's just slowed down on the track and he's going to wipe out Kingston.
Well, there's a slightly cynical view on proceedings there from Mr. Aaron Markham, but there we go. We enjoy.
That's Strat 24 that from Matt.
Well,
he's back out though.
Yeah, wherever it was, he's gone. He's had to quit to the pits. Wait for the. I think it puts a 3-minute timer up before you can go back out, as a punishment for quitting to the pits in case you've got damage, as opposed to driving to the pits. It fixes your car for you, and then off you go again. So yeah, whatever it was, it's he's still got his hazards on, but. Yeah, whatever it wasn't terminal. So yeah, maybe it was some sort of sim glitch. That's a good point, Doug. It could have been, you know, like screen had gone off and he couldn't do anything about it, or, you know, pedals broke, or, you know, anything like that. Or it could just be that he ran out of fuel, or perhaps he just fancied a change of scene and wanted to go to the pits for 3 minutes. Who knows?
It was very, very odd.
It is odd, but I'm sure we'll get to ask him about it in the post-race interviews, which are around 10 minutes away now. 10 minutes to go. And it looks like, barring any disasters or further pit stops or people running out of fuel, the order we've got now is the order we're going to have. So we might as well have a little think with 10 minutes to go then, gentlemen, about driver of the race. And perhaps... around 5-minute mark to go, we'll get those opinions off you. So start having a little think, and I'll come back to you in a couple of minutes. But for now,
we'll have to recap. We decided was our drivers of the season. It's been a week. I've had too many nights sleep to remember what I said.
Yeah. Well, we can do that now. So I think you know, I called out quite a few drivers for, I think I called them out from different categories almost. Sort of rookies, midfield pack, and front runners. But my overall driver of the season was Lloyd Reed, I think, if I remember correctly. I think he's just had an outstanding season, and at times he's been able to challenge the big boys. And as we always say, it's great to see driver progression, and particularly him and Morris this season have really progressed. And just as an aside to that, we're talking to Matty Heaton before the race, and we've seen Reed and Morris improve in their second seasons this year, and that's the kind of hope that we've got for someone like Matty next season, is that he's able to improve and jump up the tables that extra step. But yeah, those were mine. So Dougie, I don't know if you want to talk about your choice for driver of the season.
Yeah, I was gonna. I can't remember who I said last time, to be fair, but I've just obviously after today speaking about Morris, I think Morris would be my driver of the season, to be fair, just with good progression. But if it was to go with like the top guys, maybe Kingston. It's his first full season with us, is it? Is that correct?
It is his first full season. Yeah, he did. I
So
think the last
first full
4
season-
races last season, but he wasn't an entry in the championship. So
Yeah. So I think Kingston for his first season in a new league has absolutely smashed it. So credit to him. And then, as we were mentioning before, Ingle again, just to turn up without practice. Again, he's done really well. But I'll probably give it to Morris as an overall, has improved, getting really good results. Just one of them who stands out a bit more.
yeah, and this isn't one that we all have to agree on. For those of you watching, it's not like there's points at stake like there is for driver of the race where we have to come to a consensus. This is just all of our opinions. So yeah, Aaron, your thoughts?
Just trying to think of who I actually said. I think I give it to Graham, purely for the fact that, like, I just look back to season 1 and I look at what's happened this season, and they're almost like two completely separate ends of the spectrum. But what I didn't do last week was I didn't go through the grid like you did. I just kind of just picked one guy. Excuse me. I'm just thinking, really, this guy that we're looking at on screen, when you weigh up everything that's sort of been going against him, and some of the drives he's done, and how he's managed to perform with little practice, how unbelievable has Dom Ingle been in that Aston Martin this year? How unbelievable has the Aston Martin been this year? Car of the season by far. Such a good sort of combination with all the drivers. Everyone in an Aston Martin, excuse me, sorry guys. Everyone in an Aston Martin's been fantastic. And I think honourable mention as well to Adam in a McLaren that's not been as fast as it has been in previous seasons, to even sort of be anywhere near those guys at the front. It's only really recently that the McLaren seems to have made a bit of a comeback. I think back to Indy, the McLaren certainly suited that. At Brands as well, the McLaren was really strong there. But early on in the season, the McLaren just, Adam was finishing 10 seconds off the back of Kingston in some cases, and we weren't used to seeing that. I think if I was to pick a few drivers, I'd say Dom, I'd say Adam, I'd say Lloyd for all the reasons that you listed, and I'd say Graham Morris. Probably 4 contenders in their own right for drivers of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly difficult to sum up, an entire season, and so many people have driven so well, and people have had moments, and you think of sorry, I was trying to think of the words in my head. You think of like Rich Arnold, was a surprise pole sitter twice, I think, a surprise winner. Like Morris had that last season at Spa, and we've had surprise people on the podium, great battles. It's incredibly difficult to sum it all up, and of course, so much has happened over the season. But it's just been epic, and all we ask for is that the battles go down to the last race of the season, and that's exactly what's happened. So that's perfection, really. That's exactly what we want to see. But okay, focusing in more so on this finale. Who is your driver of the race for this finale?
For me, it's quite easy for me. I think I'm going to say Ash Humphries got himself up where, sat in second, kept it consistent, just kept his head down. He's done the job, kind of thing. And hopefully we'll bring it home as long as nothing goes wrong.
Stump goes wide. I think I'd have to agree. I know I've seen like the good hour of the race, but without seeing the first 20 minutes, I think until all the pit stops happened, I think Wes was having a fantastic race. But I think the strategy of staying out is clearly the goated choice this evening. So I'd give it to Ash. He's not necessarily been right at the front this season, has he? And I alluded to it talking about Adam's season in the McLaren. It's not been the car to be in this season. So to be in front of Foster and arguably within breathing distance anyway before the pit stops, I think that's some seriously good going. And on a wet track at a tricky Laguna, that's an amazing drive, really. So I second that. Go on then, Mike. Follow that up.
Same basically. I'm just going to agree with it. It's just easier. No.
It's been a long season, boys.
It's been no. Jokes aside, totally agree, and he would have been my choice. Absolutely, great drive. But it was very close actually to giving it to Lloyd Reed, but I'm going to give it to Ash. But the reason I mention that is because Lloyd is showing his one pit stop, but his only pit stop was his drive-through penalty, which cost him.
That's true.
Which cost him 30 seconds. Now, if you take that time off, plus that big spin, he'd be probably just ahead of Foster. And he could have made that no-stop strategy work for him. So I just wanted to give Reed a bit of a mention. He sort of dragged himself into contention. It's just a shame that drive-through penalty spoiled it a little bit for him. But we just watched the replay of a great battle there between Dehaan and Davis, battling away with just a few minutes less than a minute to go. Just seeing Kingston is, so he's going to cross the line and we'll have time for one more lap.
I'm assuming Kingston is championship winner if it all stays as it is. He pretty much had to finish
10th or something, with one of the other two winning, I think, to not win it. He was going to take something pretty special, so but it was mathematically possible. But he has just begun the final lap of the season, and what a season it's been, and what a championship. This guy has been quick, he's been consistent, and he's been relentless at the front of the field, and he's had stiff competition from double champion Adam Foster, Dominic Ingle, even the likes of Reed and Dehaan at times have been right up there. And of course Wes Birkhouse, even with COVID, was able to compete towards the front. So it's been a great season. And Kingston has been under tons and tons of pressure, but he has just delivered week in, week out. And we are witnessing our first champion, who isn't Adam Foster.
Talk a bit emotional, isn't it? Brings a tear to my eye.
It's definitely not been easy, and it's definitely well deserved. And that car and driver combo has been absolutely fantastic this season. Go on, Mike. I'll let you announce it as he crosses the line.
Well, there he is. Alex Kingston crosses the line. Your Season 3 FDSR champion, Alex Kingston, takes the checkered flag. No pit stops in this race. And he is the champion for Season 3. And, what a drive
Well
and
deserved.
what a season. Absolutely outstanding.
That's the first off he's had all season.
Ash Humphreys crosses the line, second position again, didn't stop, managed to make it work. Absolutely superb stuff. And Dominic Ingle having a crash a couple of corners before the end, before he crosses line again to come home with no pit stops, but he manages to come home in third position after an eventful race. Needless to say, I think he would have challenged for the lead had it not been for all those adventures, but it wasn't meant to be today, but a podium nonetheless. Adam Foster, who I think will come home second in the championship, just ahead of Dom Ingle by my rough maths in my head, will come home in fourth position in the McLaren. A great championship from Adam again, and Wes Beekhouse coming home in fifth. Lloyd Reed, who has had an outstanding season, battling right to the end here with Morris. Morris with much fresher tyres, hunting him down, but just not enough time to get past him. So kudos to Reed, who would have been probably even further up if it wasn't for that drive-through penalty. Dehaan in 8th, Davis in 9th, Weavers in 10th, Michael Mooney in 11th, Heaton in 12th, Prescott 13th, Bart Tonks in 14th. And there we go, a couple of people who didn't quite make it through the race as well. So there we go, that is that. I'm just going to quit out of there.
I will abstain from driver interviews because I am currently holding in the world's biggest cough.
No trouble at all. Are you staying to listen, or are you going?
I'll stay because I would like to congratulate all the drivers and that at the end of it. So I'll hang about. I just won't ask any questions.
Fair enough, no problem. First of all, cheers to Aaron for actually coming along, even though he was dying a slow, painful death. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And, there we go. Yeah, cheers for putting your cameras on, boys. Lovely to see you all, as always. And there we go. We'll start with Matty. Not quite the same impact that you had last week, so you're probably cursing the server gods for taking last week's down, and didn't quite happen this week. You seem to be making progress in the start of the race, and then it just sort of halted there. Take us through your race.
Yeah, so firstly, I don't think he's in here, but congratulations, Alex. Amazing season. My left leg went numb quite quickly, so my braking was appalling, and I was overshooting corners. I lost it on the corkscrew, and then after my pit stop, the reason why I've ended up dropping down about 4 places was because my engine decided to fail on me, which I didn't even know was a thing.
It is if you over rev too much.
Yeah, see, I was changing gears when I was supposed to be changing gears. I mean, I've got a third-party hood, and it gave me no kind of warning whatsoever to say that my engine was struggling. So yeah, I'm absolutely gutted, to be fair, but
yeah,
it's the end of the season.
Yeah, I wondered whether you'd severely underfueled at that point, but there we go. It is what it is, I guess. As you say, it's a shame you couldn't repeat the heroics of the server that was not meant to be last week, but still, first season, got to be really pleased. I know we spoke earlier, but lots of progress, lots learned this season, and a great way to bed yourself into what is a fantastic league.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you to all the guys for the racing this season. Thanks for welcoming me into the league, and hopefully I'll miss less events next season and be able to finish a little bit higher up in the league and battle a bit more.
Well, like I say, well done. Good season. Great rookie season, I thought. And it'd be great to see your progress next year. And we'll catch you soon. So thank you very much.
Cheers, Mike.
Dougie, over to you, my friend.
Perfect. I'm going to go to Adam. Mosky finished in 4th. How are you feeling about that? Disappointed, or are you happy with that? And
Yeah, a little bit disappointed to be fair. I think the no stop or no tyres was the correct strategy today. I stopped 4 tyres and Wes come out, I think he was 19 seconds ahead of me. I was chasing him down, but not fast enough. Luckily, he binned it and I got in front of him, but yeah, bit of a disappointing race this week.
I would have sensed that from your finishing position. So do you think it was mainly just down to difference in strategy, and that's what kind of?
Yeah, 100%. It was definitely the strategy this week. The tyres seem to have lasted the hour and 20 minutes. I didn't think they would.
We was just discussing in comms. Did you refuel and change your tyres, or?
Yeah, when you change tyres, it's standard 30 seconds, so you might as well put the fuel in. So I went 60 litres to start. So I think that's why I jumped Wes at the beginning. I had a tiny little mistake in corkscrew, and he managed to get in front. And then, yeah, the rest happened.
So it was just a difference in strategy what caused it.
Yeah.
I'll hand it back over to Mike.
Yeah, cheers. Congratulations on a great season, Adam. Obviously, not nice to lose the championship, but you asked for a challenge and you certainly got it. So
that's it. Yeah.
And that's
exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, exactly. So I know you'll be disappointed, but obviously not too disappointed.
And the man's joined. The man himself has just joined. Season 3 champion, Alex. Congratulations, mate.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, first off, I just want to say thank you for the guys putting this league on. It's been so much fun, and obviously to you Commons boys as well. I love watching them back. You do a great job. What a race that was.
We'll come to you. I mean, obviously, first of all, congratulations. Great season. Missed the consistency, just always there and thereabouts. With ballast, without ballast, it just seemed to work for you. But great car in that Aston as well. But eventful race. But it was all happening behind you, which was good for you.
Yeah. That was the main thing today. Was you had to be on pole because you lose so much time because you can't see a thing in the spray. So I just had to get pole, and I sort of, if I knew I got pole and I could keep it around the first few corners, I was sort of safe. And I changed my strategy. Last week I would have stopped, and this week I decided to just see if I could go the whole way without stopping. And I think that was the best strategy, that one.
Yeah, it certainly looked that way. I mean, people jumped up quite a few positions by not stopping, and I think it's significant if you can do that, isn't it, on ACC? Because when you're looking at 60 to 65 seconds for a stop, as in time loss or there or thereabouts, that's quite significant, isn't it? If you can get away with not losing that time, even if you lose 3-4 tenths a lap, you're still going to be net up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, just give us your thoughts on the season. I mean, it's been a great challenge, isn't it? But particularly between the three of you, battling out all the way. Same again next season?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, that was pretty much. I wanted to come into this season sort of just trying to be as consistent as I could, because in a few other leagues that I've done, I've always made like silly mistakes or something, So I really focused on that this season. And hopefully more of the same next season. I can't wait now. I've just got to decide and pick a car.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you've had so much success, I suppose it's probably tempting to stick to what you know. But then we just never know what's going to happen with BOP, with updates and things, do we? So it is always a tricky decision, isn't it, with what car to go with?
Yeah, new season, new car. That's what I'm going with.
No, that's good. We like variation. Yeah. But congratulations, mate. It's been a superb season, and
yes, thank you guys.
It's been great to call. So well done. Dougie, over to you for the next question.
Perfect. I'll go to Ash. I was just going to say congratulations on second place. You must be pretty happy with that. How did it go for you?
Yeah, I'm really happy with second. I was really surprised people pitted, to be honest. Really big surprise. So got gifted a couple of places, really. Was kind of in no man's land in, I think it was fourth. And I think Morris was behind me, and he was definitely quicker than me. I mean, when he boxed, I was just like, oh, and then I just driving around by myself for 40 minutes, which was a bit difficult because it was starting to lose concentration. But yeah, congratulations to Alex. Unbelievable all season, of course. Foster and Adam just pushing him, and thanks to the comms team as always. Really appreciate it.
No problem at all. And an overall season, are you happy with how the season went, or did you think you could do better? Or
I missed a lot of races, so the races that I did turn up at, I enjoyed it more than last season. I got the car a bit more better place, but I will change the car for next season. Probably the Audi or another mid-engine. So I'm just getting a bit bored of McLaren, to be honest.
fancy a change? No problem. Right, I'll pass back over to Mike.
Yeah, cheers. Al, Mr. Alan Davis, our sole Honda runner today, with his teammate having severe internet issues. But you had an eventful one. I think that's fair to say. Particularly those, there was quite a few incidents that we caught, but not your doing. I'm not blaming you on that one. But yeah, you do seem to be replacing Damien as the trouble magnet lately.
Yeah, I'm definitely not trying. I don't want to get in anyone's way tonight. I kind of took the approach that it was going to be one long time trial just with other cars circulating around the track, and I was just against the stopwatch. So I was planning on no stopping right from the word go, which worked out pretty well and seemed to be the right strategy. But then a combination of no one to talk to me in my ear without Rich, and a 5 a.m. start this morning with not much sleep. I was struggling to keep my eyes open about halfway through and made some silly mistakes, and then got, if I'm quite blunt, a bit bored just circulating on my own. Started sliding through a few corners and melted the tyre. Well, not melted, it was raining, but just destroyed the tyres. And then I realised Kevin was chasing me down like a train. And there was a choice of, do I keep pushing and sliding through the corners just to try and keep some speed up, or crawl? And option A didn't work too well. So yeah, it is one of those. I had a bit of contact on the car as well. I think the contact, I don't know, I have to look back on replay, but I think when you know you're slower with someone, and I had Dom flying up behind me, and he makes all his time up in the braking zone on me, and you see the radar come up behind you. I think what I do sometimes is think, right, I'll just stay braking straight and let him dive down my inside. And I think what's probably happened there is he's assumed I'm going to turn in and is belled to the right, and we've just done exactly the same. I think me and Adam had a similar situation. I'm trying to think where it was. Watkins Glen, when he was lapping me, I think I stayed wide and he assumed I was going to turn in, and bang. So one of those. But main thing, thank you guys for the comms. Really appreciate it. The comms team and the camaraderie we have in this league is what makes it. Otherwise, it's just a normal league. So can't say thank you enough for the work you guys put in.
No, thank you. We do appreciate that. Yeah, so I mean, a full season under your belt now. So yeah, plenty of graft. In the Honda. I mean, so obviously you had the Ferrari last season. So yeah. Much more success this season, I'd say, and much more learned in a car you could trust.
Yeah, suits our driving style, definitely. Looking forward to next season, hoping to be a regular appearance in the top 10 as opposed to just trying to catch in it, trying to step up to start racing more with people like Lloyd and Morris ahead of us, and trying to get into that little mix. I think that's the plan for myself anyway. Rich will just win one race and then finish at the back.
I think that's the definition of hero to zero there, isn't it? But now, well done. Like I say, you've stuck at it. A tough race today and stuck at a season. So well done. Congratulations on getting to the end. A nice break now, and then we go hard again next year. But thank you. But yeah, Dougie, over to you, mate.
Perfect. I'll go to Dom. Seemed like a good race for yourself. Got yourself onto the podium, I believe. But obviously, you seem like you got caught up in a few incidents. How did the race go in your point of view, and what's your view on some of the incidents?
Yeah, well, first off, well done, Alex. He was super all year, massively consistent and quick. So good for him. Adam had a good job as well. Good pace all year. Good job from Ash today on strategy. I think even just going back to last week quickly, that was awful to hear that Alex was going to pit, because I wasn't going to pit last week. I had 120 litres on for the start, so I'm even more gutted about that server crashing now. But this week, just couldn't make quali. So starting from the back, always a challenge anyway, but around Laguna Seca, where it's hard to overtake, then adding in the rain, adding the spray, it's just really, really challenging. So had a few bits of contact, obviously touched Alan in the rear, which pretty much exactly as he said. I braked later and I thought, oh, he's turning in now, so I went wide and then he stayed wide, so we took the same line. And then I think I had a touch with Bart as well when we were starting to go up the hill before the corkscrew. I have to look at the replay. It might have been me. We were alongside each other going up to the left-hander, and I don't know if I drifted over to him or he drifted to me or whatever, but we both went off and spanned. So
Yeah,
I lost a lot of time to be honest doing that.
We looked at the replay on that one from your on board, and he does move across you in the braking zone, so I think it was probably 50-50. But anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, but I lost a lot of time with those kind of incidents. But either way, still pleased to have kind of come up to third. I was a bit surprised, like some other people, and I saw some people pitting, so I was like, oh, I got some free positions really. But I had good pace. Low 32, had a high 31 at one point, but then got a track limit on it, which was a shame. But yeah, had quite a good pace today, but you just can't start from the back. There, it's just not possible.
Overall for the season, are you happy? I think Mike said I think we've got third, is it, in the championship? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I made a few mistakes, which have cost me. I can't always make qualifying, which is a pain. Even if I can join for the last couple of minutes, I'm only getting one or two flying laps in, which sometimes I can nail, other times you can't. So it's always a bit of a challenge from that point of view. But I'm pretty happy with how my speed anyway this year, but just not with a few silly mistakes. Drive through off the start at the beginning, Watkins being a classic one. That was a win, I think, just gone, and a couple of other sort of silly things as well. But as I say, overall, I think Alex had a cracking season. So congrats to him, and thank you guys for all the comms this year.
No problem at all. It's been a pleasure. Pass back over to you then, Mike.
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, again, thanks, boys, for all your comments. It's been an absolute pleasure to call the action. But even though it was supposed to be my week off this week, stupid server. I'm joking, of course. I don't mind. I wouldn't be here if I minded. Graham, you've had a great season, I'd say, Graham. You've got better and better and better. The pace you had tonight, really able to challenge, well-established drivers. And quick drivers, the likes of Kevin and Ash Humphries. So yeah, it just seems like you've just gone from strength to strength as you've been able to put that practice time in, and that came to a head tonight. You seemed really confident out there in really difficult conditions.
Yeah, really got some rhythm going this season, and as you say, I just keep improving. But after the end of last season, I sort of went off the game for a bit. So I want to make sure I don't do that this time, and don't lose that momentum, because I am improving quite a lot at the minute. I mean, firstly, again, I want to echo what everyone else has said. Well done to Alex, and thanks for the comms team. The streams are really good. And on tonight's race, yeah, just really good battle with Kevin at the start. That was amazing. And then I knew I had the pace on Ash, but as soon as I caught him, I couldn't see where I was going, so I just kind of had to stick behind him. And and I can't believe they all got away with the not stopping. It's frustrating, but yeah, my second stint wasn't that great, and then it was Lloyd's tyres must have really died at the end, because I lost about a second and a half a lap at the end. It was about 0.7 behind in the end, but just frustrating because I didn't have the greatest second stints. Sort of lost a bit of concentration, and I could have probably had that. But yeah, in terms of the season, it was just keep want to keep going, keep playing on this game up until the start of next season. And so to keep this pace going forward.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. It's so easy, isn't it, to get out of the groove? You have a couple of weeks off, and all of a sudden you've lost a second. And it is one of those where you've got to keep on it. So yes, do keep at it, because it's been great watching you develop this season, and I'm sure with with that level of practice, you'll keep improving. But yeah, and you had I mentioned yourself and Lloyd will come to in a moment as well this season as drivers who've shown great improvement over the last sort of 6-7 months. So it's been great to watch. So well done on a great season, and we look forward to seeing you again next year.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
And there we are, Dougie. I think we got one driver left.
Yeah, I think over to Lloyd. Basically, it looked like a good race for yourself, but you seem like you struggled slightly. Is that right, or how did you feel?
Yeah, I last week I'm glad it was cancelled. I was struggling so much. It's I do wonder. It's disappointing that no one else has got an Audi to know if it's really that bad in the wet. But I just cannot get the speed around here in the wet. Just feels like there's no front end grip. So yeah, really struggled. Really surprised I came where I came, and all the guys kept saying about pitting. I was just keeping quiet this week. So yeah, it's just so annoying. I had a drive through. I just, oh my god, got into 4th position. There was no way I was going to keep Dom and Wes behind me, obviously, but I was quite a bit up on Adam. I think at the end it probably would have got me anyway, so I probably would have finished maximum where I'd gone. But yeah, that pit stop, not having it, amazing, helped me loads. I was a bit light on fuel, I'll admit that, and I'd say the drive-through probably helped in the end. So yeah, it was. I'm glad I finished where I finished. I do wonder if I finished above Wes, because it was pretty tight, and I never had any hope of finishing near him today. So, be interesting to see how that comes out.
Not too sure myself on Master. Are you aware of that, Mike? Or
no, not off the top of my head, mate.
no, not sure. No.
Not off the top
It's
of my
because
head.
of the drop scores, basically. It's going to be a bit awkward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did enjoy it. At the end, yes, I was struggling. I don't know if it's the tyres. The track's so slippery anyway. I was just struggling more than I was struggling earlier, basically. So hopefully it was the tyres and not my driving. But yeah, Graham was closing in damn quick. Jesus. I kept seeing that time come down. I couldn't believe it. Every time I looked down, there's another second gone. I was like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, amazing driving from him. Just glad. I don't think I had another lap in me. I think Graham definitely got past me. But yeah, good race overall, really. But to echo everyone else, great season, Alex. Amazing stuff. Dom for just comeback king is just amazing. Adam, consistency, and Wes, and you guys for commentating. It's just been awesome. I loved it. Really loved the season.
No, appreciate as Mike just said, appreciate all your comments, and I'll pass back over to Mike to try. I assume Mike's gonna be wrapping up. I think.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's game over, as they say. End of the season, and it's been a hectic season. A lot of action to call, but it's been absolutely fantastic. We've loved every second of it. So yeah, roll on the next season, I guess, is all that we've got to say. So all we can say is bring it and bring it even harder, boys. That's exactly what we want to see. We want to see nice, hard, fair racing, and we want to see all the championships, all the various championships being challenged for. So you guys have done that this season, so we just want more of the same again next season. So thanks to everybody who watched it. Thanks to everybody who tunes in, whether you watch the replay, whether you watch it live. We do appreciate it. So thanks for that. Thanks to all the organisers. Thanks to all the drivers for all of their comments this season and all of their fantastic work on track as well, giving us plenty of action to call. I've been Mike Bullen. The boys have been Aaron Markham and Luke Dugdale when they're not, losing their voices. And we will see you in a few, probably, I'm assuming there's probably going to be a 6-7 week hiatus now before season 4, Adam, is there?
Beginning of the year, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see you after Christmas. But thanks for tuning in. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you all in about 6-7 weeks' time.